Good evening and welcome to the September 5th, 2024 final budget hearing and regular school board meeting. It is now in order. I'd like to welcome my fellow board members and the public. It is so encouraging to see so many wonderful faces in the audience this evening. No doubt for the wonderful performance that we will have momentarily. If I could just please remind the public that their opportunity to address the board is during public comment portion of the meeting. So I would ask for you to refrain, please, from loud speaking, disruptions, distractions, or other forms of communications that might hinder the business of the board. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Wright?
Here.
Mr. Trent? Here. Ms. Jenkins?
Here.
Ms. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Susan?
Here.
At this time, the board would like to hold a moment of silence, and I invite the audience to join. All right, if you will, please rise. I believe, William, are you ready for the pledge? All right, you're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, William. Appreciate you helping lead out that way. Tonight, we're very fortunate. We have the Stevenson Elementary Choir with us. We have the choir director, which is Mr. William Yo, right? Is that correct? I don't want to mispronounce it. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you. The stupid mic is turning on and off.
Republic
stay.
Wait, come back. Don't leave us yet.
Sorry.
Oh. All right, well, I want to take a moment and thank you guys so much. Is there anybody that you would like to pick out that maybe would be willing to go to the microphone and speak? Do we have a couple names? No? All right, drawing sticks. How about Sabrina and Tayton? Your names are on this piece of paper, so I believe you have been nominated by your peers, I believe. All right. Thank you. Ms. Jenkins, do you want to start? Do you have any questions or things to say?
Hey, everybody. First and foremost, great job. Miss Jenkins isn't going to be here in 2 months, and there isn't a whole lot I'm going to miss except for this. You bring so much joy to my heart, and I have to say, 2 out of those 3 songs I sang when I was in elementary school chorus, so it brought back some pretty sweet memories for me. You did such a really, really good job. So I have a question, and either one of you can answer this question for me, but who is right now your favorite singer?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'd say William because he's always on top of everything. And he's willing to take chances and sing a bunch of songs, even though if he doesn't practice a lot.
William, where are you? Raise your hand, William. Man, that was so sweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, Tayton, I thought you guys were gonna tell me like Taylor Swift or
Yeah.
you know, that was just the best answer ever. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, adorable. Thank you.
Miss Campbell.
Awesome job, everybody. Let's see. I will ask my question to Sabrina. So, Sabrina, how many years have you been in this group?
I've been in chorus since 3rd grade, so 3 years.
And Sabrina, you're going to middle school next year, right? Mm-hmm. So, when you get to middle school, are you going to be in some music programs at your middle school?
Yeah, I think I do orchestra right now, and I think I'm going to continue with the violin.
I love that. I love that. I also have a question for Mr. Yo. Mr. Yo, how long have you been the music teacher at Stevenson?
That's rude, Miss Campbell.
I didn't ask him how old he was. How many years? I knew it had been a while. That is amazing. I love the longevity, and that's one of the reasons why Stevenson's music program has been so successful. So thank you for your years of service.
All right, Mr. Susan.
Mr. Yo, I just wanted to say thank you for what you've done for these children. The precision that they came in on, your intensity. Many of you in the audience didn't get to see Mr. Yo sing the entire song like I did. And the intensity that he had just shows that after, I think you said 24 years, that the dedication has continued, and it's amazing. I only wanted to invite, if we may, the school board member for your district is Gene Trent. You may have seen him around. We love singing, and we would love to come sing with you guys. Gene's been known to sing pretty well, and I like to accompany. So if you guys ever invited us out, we would love to come over and sing with you guys and have some fun. Miss Campbell, we don't want to invite her because she's actually really good, and she'll make us sound really bad. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Mr. Truitt.
All right.
Are you guys sharing a microphone?
We're not now. Yeah, his is right. Yours is right there. All right. All right, guys. That was amazing.
Yep.
So I don't even have to ask. One of the questions I sometimes ask is how often you practice, and you answer that in the songs. They were broad show quality. So thank you so much. And the second thing is you absolutely do not want me to be singing in your group.
Don't listen to him. Send the invite.
The closest we came, Dr. Endell and I, the last time we were there, we got on stage and danced. Somehow they coerced us to get up there, and I don't know if they've recovered since, but that was entertaining. But you guys, this is great. Talk about a lifelong something to learn. This is those of you that can perform and can sing and hold a tune, you don't realize how lucky you are. I'm not as fortunate as Matt here, that Mr. Susan that can sing. It's something that we always, those that can't do it, always wished we could. I play the radio. But it doesn't quite, fill the bill. So you guys are talented. I know you're talented in the classroom, and now you're talented in this manner, and I hope it continues. Just one more way of showing the talents we have here in Brevard. So thank you so much, and thank you very much for doing this.
Okay, so by raise of hands, whose favorite song out of the three that you sang tonight would have been "We Go Together"? I knew it. I knew it. I knew that was going to be the most popular one. You guys did amazing. It was so fun to watch you. So we only get to see the backs of your heads when you're performing, but the video's going. So we're watching you guys do all the hand movements, and I'm like, this is amazing. But thank you guys so much. Parents, thank you so much for bringing the students out tonight to have them perform to begin with. So you guys deserve a round of applause. We would like to take a photo with you guys, if that's okay.
What about Dr. Rendell?
Oh, Dr. Rendell.
Dr.
I'm
Rendell?
sorry. I know.
Oh,
Well, I
that's
was.
good over here.
No, I just, this is our first student performance of the year, and
Yes.
Stevenson has set the bar high.
Yes, you
Very
have.
high. Congratulations. Thank you. It was amazing.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. And can we take a picture with you guys before you go? Okay, awesome. So we'll take a 5-minute recess and grab a photo. Well, welcome back. That was so much fun. What a good way to start our board meeting off. At this time, I'd like to offer my fellow board members and Dr. Rendell an opportunity to recognize students, staff, or members of the community. Ms. Jenkins, would you like to go first?
I just want to recognize the Brevard Schools Foundation has released its end of year report with the Hyman Foundation about their after school arts club that they have been doing for the past 4 years. And it's important to know that this program will expire in 2025 if the grant isn't renewed. So I encourage people in our community, if you haven't checked out the Brevard Schools Foundation, ways in which you can support that foundation. There's many ways, more than just this program, but definitely check it out. See if you can support in some way. Not that that it isn't going to be renewed, but you never know. They sent with it some cards that some of the students had written just to show the tremendous impact that these art clubs after school in some of our communities really do make a difference for our kids. And so I just wanted to read a couple of them. One of them, I'm not going to say the students' names just in case, but one of them, very young clearly, said that my father died when I was 11 and this helped me get through it. Thank you. I loved art clubs so much. I got to meet new people. And I had fun because there is not much to do when I go home. I love art because it helps me escape my stress. It's my comfort zone, and I feel freedom there. So just always important to remember, the partnerships that we have in our community, the ways in which they support our kids, not only during school hours, but after school hours, have such an impact in their lives. So anyone who's willing to help, please do. And then last but not least, I just want to acknowledge the tragedy that happened at Appalachia High School in Georgia. My heart is with those families, with that community. Of course, it is disturbing for us to see another act of senseless, preventable, disgusting violence. And I know, like many other families who are listening, you hugged your kids tightly as you got them home that day. I felt guilt as a parent that I didn't even know it was happening until way after it was over. So my heart is with you.
Thank you, Ms. Jenkins. Ms. Campbell.
Thank you, and thank you for mentioning that tragedy that happened yesterday. And we certainly already have been, and will continue to pray for the community. And I know our staff, every time something like this happens, they reevaluate. And we're thankful for the partnership we have with District Security, with the Sheriff's Office, and our local police agencies. But we're also thankful that every time something like this happens, they do reevaluate and take a look at what are we doing, what can we do better, what do we need to do in the future to keep our students and our staff safe. I just want to recognize two, a student and then a group of people. This year was our inaugural voyage into online re-enrollment, and it was a little scary for some schools who traditionally had not had good participation on Focus, because you had to have a Focus account, you had to be able to get into Focus to fill out the forms, and so Miss Dan Pierce shared with me some stats this week that I was just so impressed with. I had to share the kudos. So first of all, thank you, parents, for taking the plunge and getting online and getting it done. But also to our schools and to our student services staff who helped with that push. Because of your continued efforts, our district-wide online re-enrollment process percentage was 92.3%. Which I don't remember what the data was for our percentage of parents who are on Focus, but it's been considerably lower than that. So great job, everybody. And even a school like Endeavor, we have a lot of focus on Endeavor because of all the community wraparound services. Endeavor's percentage was 85%. And I know that student services staff were going out there and helping and supporting that school, and Endeavor had like parent nights and inviting families in to show them how to get online and establish that account. And it's not just about the enrollment, and this is what I want to say is once parents have the Focus app on their phone and they're enrolled, then they can so much more easily get the notifications from their school. So they're getting that feedback, and they can contact the school because everybody knows how to use apps, right? Once it's getting it on there. And so that communication can go so much better. So kudos to everybody who was a part of that. And then I wanted to recognize a student from the bowling team at Bayside High School, because if you didn't see the reel that's going around viral in our community, Caden Sylvester bowled, and I don't even know what grade he's in, he looked quite young, bowled a perfect 300 in the match against O'Galley High School this week.
Yeah,
I know. So I don't know what it takes to be a state champion in bowling, but he's on the way for sure. And so congratulations, Caden, for such a, I mean, what pressure to know you're on the last frame and you're
Yeah,
so
don't mess
close
up
to
now.
perfect. And he handled it beautifully. So congratulations to Caden and the Bayside bowling team.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Mr. Susan.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Trent?
I just wanted to have a shout out to really all the admin in our county of just the hard work they put in over the summer to have such a smooth opening. And I mean from drop-off and pickup lines and traffic plans. I mean, that stuff matters. You usually get calls, emails, flag down, at the grocery store talking about the headaches of picking up and dropping off, and I've had very little after day one. But since then, I mean, but it takes a lot of effort to make sure, that it's a smooth opening. And the communication that I have had personally with my two children from teachers and administration has been wonderful. I mean, that's the one thing about communication. I don't think you can do too much of it, and it's been great. So heads off and shout out to all the teachers and admin that put in the hard work because it's showing. So that's about it.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to give a shout out to a couple different people. So, board, we all received an email this week that Melbourne High School is celebrating their 100th season of playing football in Brevard County. So, congratulations to Melbourne High's football team on achieving that milestone. That's something huge. Hopefully, we can all get out to see a game this season, and it'll be one that makes us proud. I also want to thank Senator Wright on helping Brevard County secure the funding that we needed in order to build the commercial driver's license facility that's going to be built in Cocoa. This is going to be a community hub that's going to serve really all of Florida, maybe even all of the country, because once this is completed, we'll be able to have people go through. I think, Mr. Susan, you signed up to be in the course the first time, or you said you were going to be.
Senator Wright
So.
and I are racing each other.
Oh, okay. All right, I don't know about that, but I want to thank Senator Wright for helping with that, because that's a huge undertaking. It's going to serve all of Florida, potentially all of the nation. We are grateful for your help there. Also, board, I know you'll remember, I think it was back in the summer, I don't know the exact date, but we had a parent reach out to us in regards to their sixth grade student wanting to go and compete for science fair, but because Brevard County has sixth grades in elementary, typically it's in middle school, it was a little funky, so we were trying to get it approved. Hey, can my sixth grade student go and compete amongst the middle schoolers? And we received an email this week that our sixth grade student was one of the top finalists. Hang on, sorry, I'm trying to pull the email so I can read it to you. So let me see. Jace was notified today that he was selected as a finalist for the Thermo Fisher competition, which is a middle school version of ISEF. The County Science Fair Department confirmed Jace was the only finalist who advanced to this level from Brevard County for 6th through 8th grade. So kudos to him. He's obviously making Brevard very proud. That was a good move on our part on saying, yes, please go forward, do good work, and we wish you the very best on that further competition, Jace. Dr. Rendell, do you have any?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. So Ms. Campbell mentioned a minute ago something about state championships. And usually we recognize students who earn state championships or teams that earn state championships. So tonight we want to recognize a staff member, a faculty member who has earned a state championship. So earlier this summer, Rachel Rutledge was named this year's CTE Administrator of the Year for Florida, for the Florida Association of Career and Technical Education. So we would like Rachel to come up here to the microphone while I talk about her. So the Florida CTE Administrator of the Year recognizes members who have made extraordinary contributions to CTE, Career and Technical Education, programs that exemplify the highest standards and organizations that have conducted activities to promote and expand CTE programs. Award winners serve as inspirational leaders. They embody the core values of serving their students and being committed to CTE. Rachel received the award at the Florida Association of Career and Technical Education State Conference on July 17th, so earlier this summer. The board was treated to a workshop also earlier this summer about all of the great things we are doing in CTE and then are going to do in CTE, and that's all a result of Rachel's hard work. So congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
I just want to say thank you for your support of me over the last 4 years, and want to thank my husband for dealing with me tirelessly in my pursuit of excellence with CTE, and also for my amazing team here in Brevard. Without them, we wouldn't be able to serve the students and teachers in the district with as much excellence as we're able to do. And that's it. So thank you again.
Okay, you can't go anywhere.
Wait, oh.
So you got your plaque back in the summer at the state conference. So we have flowers for you, and we'd like to take a picture when we take our next break. So congratulations.
So don't leave
Thank
yet.
you.
Congratulations.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, that'll bring us to the adoption of the agenda, so I'm turning it back over to you, Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On this evening's agenda, we have the final budget hearing, 1 proclamation, 20 consent items, 3 action items, and 1 information item. Changes made to the agenda since release to the public include the following: revisions D14, adoption of the final fiscal year 25 budget; F20, the annual financial reports for fiscal year 23-24; F28, support staff recommendations; F30, to approve the 24-25 salary adjustments for non-bargaining personnel; G40, which is the Coalition of State School Boards Association Federal Advocacy Conference.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, thank you. So tonight, we will be recognizing our winners for the 2025 Principal Achievement Award for Outstanding Leadership and Outstanding Assistant Principal Achievement Award. Dr. Rendell, will you tell us a little bit about these awards, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Principal Achievement Award for Outstanding Leadership and the Outstanding Assistant Principal Achievement Award were established in 1988 to recognize exemplary principals and assistant principals for their contributions to their schools and communities. The program honors principals and assistant principals who have spearheaded initiatives to increase student performance, promote safe learning environments, and establish partnerships with parents and community members. Joining us for the recognition will be Gary Schifrin, Executive Director of the Brevard Association of School Administrators, along with Julie Demig from Community Credit Union, who will present each winner with a check from our generous school district business partners. Before we go on, we'll have Gary come on up to the microphone.
On behalf of the Brevard Association of School Administrators and the Community Credit Union, I want to thank the superintendent and the school board for taking the time to recognize these outstanding educators who hold very important roles in our school system. Although we all agree that the teacher is the most important person for the success of our students, it needs to be said that without the support of a great principal and assistant principal, our teachers would struggle as they perform their jobs. Our administrators provide the necessary resources, the motivation, the research, the encouragement, and so many other aspects of school life that allows our teachers to bring out the best in our students for their success. Our administrators put in so many hours as they leave home to go to work in the dark, and in many instances arrive back home well beyond sundown. And most of them do not know what a Monday to Friday job is, as they are attending the many sporting events, community meetings, fundraisers, Odyssey of the Mind competition, robotics, future problem solving, dinner fundraisers, a drama or band performance, and that is only a few of the many tasks that school administrators are involved in on weekends. And I would add that the accountability issue has become so important over the past years that administrators are held responsible for literally everything that takes place in their school. We ask so much of our administrators, and in Brevard County, I can tell you that your administrators do an awesome job. Without their expertise and total commitment, we would not be as successful as never be taken away from you. Indeed, congratulations are in order, and you have much to be proud of. And being that this will be my final opportunity to be a part of this recognition, I want to take this time to thank the board and Community Credit Union for taking the time every year to recognize the amazing contributions and accomplishments of our school administrators. You have the best educational leaders who make this district proud and as successful as we have been over so many years. Thank you for all that you do as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I'd like to give Julie from Community Credit Union the opportunity to say a few words. They're one of our strongest business partners, and you'll see in just a minute how much they support our administrators. Julie.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I learned from Janice Kershaw that Community Credit Union was started before Brevard Public Schools was actually formed. So I think that's pretty interesting. And the teachers that started Community Credit Union started it back in 1953. And they worked out of their homes, and they got paid about $10 a month. And so I'm honored to be part of Community Credit Union. My minor in education is education. My major is business, so it kind of works together. But I absolutely love watching the things that Brevard Public Schools does for their students. And I've seen so many lives touched, and I've seen some great educators and great leaders in the community as well. And so with that, I'd like to honor them with some support from Community Credit Union. Thank you.
All right, so Gary, if you want to stay up there, Julie, if you want to stay up there, we'll call them up each individually. They actually got these honors back at the Superintendent's Summit in July, and so we're going to do this again. So first we want to recognize the Principal of the Year, Adria McDonough from Oak Park Elementary School. Adria, come on up. Let's do a couple individual pictures, and then we'll do a big group picture. Get in there, Gary. And then similarly for our Assistant Principal of the Year this year, it was Kelty Fernandez from Gulfview Elementary School. So we'll do a quick picture with Kelty, and then we'll do a picture with everybody. So if
Okay.
you want to take a break, we can do that.
Sounds good. We'll take a 5-minute recess and then come back at 6:15, okay?
All right, since we did-
All right, we are now at the proclamation. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight's proclamation is to appoint the month of September as National Suicide Prevention Month. Ms. Campbell will now read the proclamation.
Thank you. Whereas September is designated as National Suicide Prevention Month, as recognized by the National Association of Mental Illness, and whereas many health officials and community leaders, locally, state, and nationally, understand that mental illness is a significant issue of concern, particularly among our youth, and whereas we realize that to address mental health issues requires more open and honest discussions about mental health, and whereas one major hurdle is removing the stigma attached to mental health treatment and discussion, and whereas parents, teachers, administrators, coaches, mentors, public officials, and peer students recognize the importance of emotional health, and whereas we can all play a valuable role in assisting others who may show symptoms of stress, depression, anxiety, or mental illness, now therefore be it resolved that the Brevard Public School Board supports the education of staff, parents, and students on symptoms of and help for mental health problems, and be it further resolved that Brevard Public School staff will encourage a positive, safe school environment and encourage helping others while also promoting access to school-based mental health supports and recognizing when young people are at risk for or are experiencing mental health problems. Adopted by the members of the Brevard Public School Board, Brevard County, Florida, at the regular school board meeting thereof, held the 5th of September, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Aye. Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, I believe we have Ms. Kelly Haskins and Ms. Jeanette Gingling, is that right? Here this evening, who wanted to share a few words regarding the proclamation. If you would, please come up to the microphone and we'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you, and good evening. I'm Janet Ginling, President and CEO of Space Coast Health Foundation. I want to thank you for your support of the Foundation's effort to note Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, which began September 1st. I also want to recognize Kelly Haskins and her friends with Do It for Hunter, who are with me here today. Do It for Hunter is a not-for-profit in Brevard County dedicated to suicide awareness and prevention. Her organization is also raising the bar in this important effort. The Brevard County School Board for many years has been a partner and leader in helping the Foundation's efforts to boost access to quality health care, including mental health for our community. You have supported the Suicide Prevention Awareness Initiative in the past, and I believe it's making a difference. According to the Florida Department of Health, the number of suicides in Brevard County decreased to 115 in 2022 from 141 5 years earlier. The 2022 figure was the lowest number of suicides in the Space Coast since 2014, when there were 114. Obviously, one suicide is one too many. But we're trending in the right direction, and part of the reason is because of your support. It's all about creating awareness. It's about helping us find resources for mental health and using those resources efficiently. It's about making a difference. The Brevard County School Board is making a difference. On behalf of the Foundation, I thank you for the proclamation, and I also thank you for your support of our Thrive Within program, which has been going on in the schools to do prevention and early intervention for mental health.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say a quick thank you for allowing us to do the project, the sticker project, on all of the school laptops, on all of the students in Brevard County schools. That initiative that you allowed us to do, may very well have saved a life. So we appreciate that. 211 Brevard that operates the 988 line. They are instrumental in helping us do what we do, and they answer the call literally 24/7 from those who are struggling. So what we do is we help to share the 988 number that is literally saving lives. We do have a You Matter Day coming up, our third annual, coming up on September 21st. Dr. Rendell has graciously said yes to being in our dunk tank, so come and visit us at Merritt Island High School from 10 till 2. I haven't given you your time slot yet. And Mr. Raymer is going to take his turn also. And if any of you all would like to take a turn getting in the dunk tank, we would love it. So just reach out to me. But
Which
thank
high
you.
school is this going to be at?
Merritt Island High School, Saturday, September 21st.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Raymer and I are not afraid. We can do the dunk tank. We're good.
Need a deep,
We're not afraid.
need a deep one for Mr. Raymer. Mr. Raymer's going to just sit there. And he's
May
gonna-
I want to,
That's right, we'll be good.
Ms. Haskins, I just want to say to you, just as a woman and as a mom, I'm so grateful for you and proud of you for turning tragedy into advocacy. And from the moment I met you, I have never forgotten you and your story. You gave me a photo of your handsome son, and I still have it. I see it in my jewelry box with the band that you gave me as well. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, and you've made a significant difference. And it's not just the stickers on the laptops, it's on the ID cards too, and I'm grateful for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair, if you want to take one more picture with the proclamation, maybe?
Yes, can we take one more photo with the proclamation and you guys to come forward, please? Thank you. We are. All right. All right. We are now at the second and the final public hearing for the 2024-2025 proposed millage rates and final budget. The hearing of September 5th, 2024 is now in session. Now we'll move on to the presentation of this hearing. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Ms. Cindy Lazinski, Chief Financial Officer, will present the 24-25 final budget and proposed millage levy in a presentation.
Good evening, Ms. Wright, board members, Dr. Rendell. This is the second and final FY25 school budget and district millage rate public hearing. Tonight's public hearing will cover this presentation of proposed millage rates and FY25 budget, an opportunity for public comment and board member discussion, and adoption of the total millage levy, as well as the adoption of the FY25 school board final budget. The truth in millage legislation requirements are detailed under Florida statute. Trim timelines are very prescriptive in law, and the clock started July 1st. The total timeline to budget adoption is 80 days. The statute dictates the order of business during the budget hearings, and trim requires 2 public hearings for open discussion of the millage rates and the proposed budgets. Millage is a term that represents the tax rate levied on real estate or other property. 1 mill is equivalent to $1 in taxes per $1,000 in taxable value. So if your home has a taxable value of $100,000 and you're assessed a 1 mill tax rate, you will pay $100 in taxes. The Florida Education Finance Program is a mechanism by which state and local operating funds are allocated to finance its school district's operating cost. Funding for FEFP combines state funds primarily generated from sales tax revenue and local funds generated from property tax revenue. Required local effort is the local amount of funds the district receives from levying the state certified local millage rates on the district's taxable property. It is key to understand the Florida legislature sets the required local effort millage rate, and the school board must levy the required local effort millage rate in order to receive state funding under the Florida Education Finance Program. The proposed required local effort millage rate was set for Brevard by the legislature at 3.063. The required local effort rate adjusts year to year and is normally less than the previous year. You can see on the top row the FY25 RLE rate of 3.063 is 0.072 less than FY24's rate. The basic discretionary operating millage is fixed at 0.748, and the local capital improvement remains fixed at 1.5 mils. Additionally, Brevard County voters approved a 1 mil operating millage that overwhelmingly passed during the November 8, 22 election. The operating millage allows the district to provide competitive salaries to our teachers and other dedicated employees. When total proposed millage related to school funding, the total is, for FY25 is 6.311 mils. Using the proposed millage rate at the 25 taxable property value, our total projected tax levy is approximately $459 million at a 96% collection rate. The required local effort and discretionary millage makes up the local operating funds. The capital outlay millage is levied for local capital improvement, and the voted operating millage is predominantly for providing competitive compensation for our employees. If the school district's levy of 0.748 mil generates an amount of funds per FTE that is less than the state average, the school district will receive a discretionary millage compression supplement in state-funded dollars to bring the district to the state average. In the case of Brevard, the state compression calculation guarantees $661 per FTE, so we will receive an additional 176 per FTE, or 14.5 million in state discretionary funds. The voted millage will continue to provide increased compensation for our employees. After proportionally sharing with our charter schools, BPS will receive an estimated $72.7 million prior to commission. 80%, or $58.2 million, will be allocated for compensation for our employees. 16%, or $11.6 million, will be allocated towards student programs, and 4%, or $2.9 million, will be allocated for technology advancement in the classroom. The local capital improvement millage will provide the district $109.1 million. Beginning in 2024, Florida statute now directs that charter schools receive a proportionate share of LCI dollars. And this is being phased in over the next 5 years. FY25 requires school districts to provide 40% of the total calculation, which is approximately $2 million. $37.6 million will be used to pay for the district's debt service, which covers principal and interest payments for previously bonded debt that was issued primarily between the years 1996 and 2008 to build schools and provide for major renovations of our older schools. LCI also contributes $13.8 million towards facility maintenance costs and pays for the district's $10 million property insurance, which leaves approximately $45.6 million for facility projects, equipment, vehicle and school bus replacement, as well as instructional computer replacement and technology. This slide depicts the historic millage rates starting in FY12. The required local effort millage variable rate, represented by the dark blue bars, has declined each year as Brevard's property values increase. The orange bar represents the fixed basic discretionary operating rate. The light blue depicts the fixed local capital investment rate, and the two green bars represent the voter-approved 1 mil operating millage. As required by TRIM, we must compare the proposed millage rate to the rollback rate. When property values rise, property taxes generate more revenue. For the total revenue generated to stay the same as the prior year, the tax rate must decrease. The rollback rate is the millage rate that would generate the same amount of revenue as last year if applied to the current year's adjusted taxable value. Under TRIM, the rollback rate is the benchmark for determining if tax rates have increased or decreased. The rollback rate is generally less than the proposed tentative rate. When the rollback rate is less than the proposed millage rates that we receive from the state, we must advertise a tax increase. This slide depicts the annual certified school property tax values from FY13 to current year. Property values have increased each year with significant changes post-pandemic in FY23 and FY24. The FY25 growth rate of 8.25% is over 3% higher than the state projections that took place in January 24. Debt service refers to the money required to pay the principal and interest of an outstanding debt for a particular period of time. This slide depicts our debt service that spans across the years to FY36. This chart does include the district's recent bond refinancing savings of over $5 million spread across years 25 and 30. The debt service ratio is a tool used to measure the district's leverage. Per state statute, school districts can use up to 3/4 of their LCI for debt payments. This would equate to 1.125 mils, or approximately $81.8 million at the 96% rate. However, your board policy is more restrictive, limiting debt payments up to 1 mil, or $72.7 million for each fiscal year. Under board policy, the current debt service ratio is 1.87. Generally speaking, we want to be above 1.25. At a minimum, a debt service ratio of 1, for example, would mean that we are devoting all our available dollars to pay debt. Florida School District's FY25 budget saw little growth to cover inflationary cost increases. The final FY25 budget is balanced. We did, however, transfer $1.2 million from fund balance in the general fund, from the general fund. A budget is our best estimate of revenue against expenses, and it is not money in the bank. We built this budget understanding our priority is providing an excellent education and personal growth for all students. We also considered several challenges that cause uncertainty: the impact of school choice legislation regarding enrollment changes and growing pains of new business processes that will account for Family Empowerment Scholarship, FTE, which is now embedded in the school district's FEFP. The impact of ESSER funding sunsetting. We have, I think, 24 days left. Or 25. The impact of, and then the ability to create bridges for any gaps. We considered inflationary cost increases and the need for increased compensation and pay benefits and retirement for our most valued asset, our people. This budget includes a pay raise for teachers at 3.5%, with 0.5% allocated for performance-based bonuses, and a salary increase for new teachers, bringing starting pay from $48,725 to $50,450. We also are providing a 4% raise for non-bargaining employees. 1010 will be bargaining, but they have not come to the table yet. So that said, this year's budget will be tight, and we will be required to create efficiencies, offsets, and control our expenditures in order to maintain our strong financial stability. This slide is a high-level summary of the 2025 all funds proposed budget. This slide depicts the final FY25 fund balances by fund. BPS has a long history of maintaining a strong financial condition ratio between 8 and 9% in the general fund pre-pandemic. The district financial condition ratio dropped to 6.1% in FY22, which was caused mainly by a large drop in enrollment. Fitch, our credit raters, expect and are confident that we will return to our historical levels to maintain our stable AA rating, and AA is considered very high credit quality. And I'm very happy to report that our financial condition ratio ended FY24 with a ratio of 7.6%, so we're almost there. The other fund that receives close scrutiny in our self-insured healthcare is our self-insured healthcare fund. It requires 60 days of claims, which was about $13.6 million at the end of FY24. And as you can see in that column of internal service, that we exceeded that requirement. Are there any questions as I move on? Next steps, we have to notify the Florida Department of Education, the Florida Department of Revenue, and the Brevard County Tax Collector.
All right, is that your last slide?
That is it.
That's it, all right. Thank you. Thank you. Board, do you have any questions for Ms. Lozinski?
I don't know.
Nobody? All right. All right, the hearing is now open for public comments. We will, in accordance with the Florida law, accept the speakers in the following order: the 2024-2025 proposed millage levy, followed by the 2025 final budget. Is there anyone who would like to address the board regarding the 2024-2025 proposed millage levy? Is there anyone present who would like to address the board for the 2024-2025 proposed millage levy? Seeing none. All right. Is there anyone present who would like to address the board for the 2025 final budget? Okay, come on.
Thank you so much. First, I want to say your budget is very complicated. It's very hard to understand, but we're going to give it a quick shot. Just a couple of things that we have some questions on. Again, thank this team for a job well done. You know, one of the things the community is concerned about is capital expenditures for our schools that are old. And what I saw in the budget is that there's a capital 1.5 millage set aside for, which equates to $109 million for capital expenditures. And then when I look at the repair categories, there are $13 million set aside for that. And when I look at the discretionary funds, there are $54.4 million set aside for that. And then when I look at the unassigned on your final budget, there's $38 million set aside for that. So the community is concerned with some of our older schools. And I have a lot of confidence in Ms. Suhan, what she's doing. But we really need to drill down, what does this mean for older schools? So that the public can see, what's happening with Stone, University Park, some of the older schools in the communities. But we really need to understand what's happening in that category. Because what I just heard a little while ago is that a lot of the capital money is going to go to charter schools, which is, I guess, required by law. But we need to see, because we cannot drill down from a presentation like this. It all rolls up into a big bucket. But I would like to see, my community partners would like to see, when are we going to see a plan that drive down to the schools that need to be competitive for our children? I'm very concerned about that. There's a ton of money, and I pay a lot of millage as well, and so does the other communities. But we need to understand what that plan looks like, even if it's preliminary. What are your thoughts toward older schools? What are you planning on doing? Because we know that a strong community needs a strong school. And if these schools are getting older, you can only put so much money in it. Sooner or later, they need to be replaced. So that's my plea to this board, and so that we can understand how the communities are going to be, how those schools are going to be upgraded. So, and I know there's some preliminary things you guys are working on, but kind of walk the community through that, because more millage is going to be coming soon, and I want to have a good idea whether some of those millage money that I invest in my schools is going to go to the areas that need it the most.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone, my mic turned off, okay. Is there anyone else present who would like to address the board regarding the 2025 final budget?
I'm Gina Daringe, retired teacher, and I just want to reiterate what Mr. Bernard was saying about what is the plan for older schools. My community school is Sea Park, and Sea Park has been going through some renovations this summer, but it's an old school. My other concern is our concern with the voucher program and a decrease in students going to neighborhood schools and going to charter schools instead, or to private schools or homeschooling. The question I keep on asking is, a student decides to go to homeschool for whatever reason, I understand it. If they're being bullied, they don't feel comfortable going to school, I understand that. The parents then take that $8,000 thinking they can educate their child at home, and they find out that maybe their kid has a learning disability, or maybe they need to go back to work. The question we have is, that money's gone. It's gone. It doesn't come back. Step Up for Schools has not been very transparent with their data. AAA is another organization supposed to help as well. I worked in schools that were old. I worked at COCO. I was in the back building when they made a decision to close Clear Lake, and we had black mold in the back building. All the teachers that worked in the back, we all had respiratory infections. And when I was doing checkout to go to Heritage, because it was a newer school, the assistant principal came down and said, "What is this?" And it was black mold that we always saw on our textbooks. And I said, "Oh, Mr. Clifford cleans every day." And she said, "No, this is black mold," and took off in her golf cart. So that is a concern to me. It's a concern of kids that are breathing air that may not be clean, that have respiratory problems. It's also for teachers who are possibly breathing in air that's not very clean. So I guess my anxiety is, what are we doing about losing our count when the FTE comes, which is coming up soon, right? How many days to FTE count?
What's in October?
It's in October. And then we'll find out what our count is then, and then how many kids who elect to be homeschooled then come back into our classrooms, and that is a concern.
All right, the public comment portion of the hearing is now closed. That'll bring us to the recommendation for the adoption for the 2024-2025 proposed millage levy and the 2025 final budget. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Florida Statute 200.0065 requires each taxing authority levying millage to publicly state the name of the taxing authority, the rolled back rates, and the millage rate to be levied prior to the adoption of the millage levy resolution. In compliance with those requirements, the following needs to be stated. The taxing authority is the School Board of Brevard County, Florida. The 2024-2025 rolled back rates are as followed. In the operating fund, the required local effort is 2.9733 mils. Local discretionary is 0.7094 mils. Capital outlay 1.4226 mils. And the additional voter-approved millage 0.9484 mils for a total rollback rate of 6.0537. The total millage rate to be levied exceeds the total rollback rate by 4.25%. The proposed 2024-2025 millage rates are, in the operating fund, the required local effort 3.063 mils, local discretionary of 0.748 mils, capital outlay of 1.5 mils, and the additional voted millage of 1.0 mils. So the total millage rate to be levied is 6.311 mils. There are a total of 5 separate motions. I will read each of the recommendations into the record and then request board action. The first is to adopt the resolution setting the required local effort, local discretionary, additional voted millage, and capital outlay millage rate of 6.311 mils for 2024-25. The written resolution is incorporated into this motion by reference.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
The second motion is to adopt the final 2025 budget in the following amounts. The general fund is $837,025,979. The debt service fund is $38,018,445. Capital project funds is $452,985,417. Special revenue fund is $191,993,770. Internal service fund is $110,946,439, and the enterprise fund is $9,687,388. Total budget amount is $1,630,657,438.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
The third motion is to authorize the superintendent to adjust the adopted millage levy and budget due to changes in the certified tax roll.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Fourth motion is to authorize the superintendent to forward the adopted millage levy resolution to the Brevard County Property Appraiser and Tax Collector no later than 30 days following the adjournment of the Value Adjustment Board.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
Fifth motion is to authorize the superintendent to forward the following to the designated state agencies. A, the adopted budget, millage levy resolution, certified tax roll, rolled back rates, proposed millage, and certified copies of the advertisement for the proposed budget and millage rates to the State Department of Education. Also, the millage levy resolution, certified tax roll, rollback rates, proposed millage, and certified copies of the advertisements for the proposed budget and millage rate to the Department of Revenue.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Paul, roll call.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent?
Aye.
Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, the public hearing is now adjourned. All right, so we are now back to the regular school board meeting. How many speakers do we have signed up tonight, Mr. Gibbs?
8.
8 speakers, all right. So Mr. Gibbs will call up 3 speakers at a time. You'll receive 3 minutes to speak. I would like to remind everyone of the board policy, that's Board Policy 0169.1. All comments should be directed at the board or individual board members, staff members, or other individuals shall not be addressed by name. Abusive, obscene, or irrelevant comments will not be permitted. Orderly conduct is expected from all public participants. The presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate the participant's public comment opportunity. Mr. Gibbs, can you please call the first 3?
Ashley Akhtar, Bernard Bryan, Gregory Ross.
Oh, yeah, come up to the podium, sorry.
My name is Ashley Okhtar. I am a local ICU nurse at the only neurotrauma unit here in Brevard County, and I'm also a mother of two, 10 and 6 years old. Both of my children attend Quest, and I am here to ask you guys to please help me update the diabetic management policy for our local county schools and for the state of Florida. I have the guideline for care and delegation of students with diabetes in Florida schools. It hasn't been updated since January of 2015, so it's almost 10 years old. My 6-year-old is newly type 1 diabetic and very brittle. She would like to attend school like every other child. She loves to be around the kids, and it is extremely scary to send her to school every day and not have a management policy in place that keeps her safe. I know that you guys work with the Brevard Public Health Department nurses. That's who's provided to the schools if we're lucky enough to have one. Quest has one, that's wonderful. But I've been working with them very diligently since before school started to start using devices that are available to us to monitor diabetic values in the school setting. There's an app on phones, iPads, or there's a device that looks similar to your timer clock here that will show continuous glucose value. They can keep it in the clinic and keep an eye on the student, and it has audible alarms that will go off if the child was to become hypoglycemic. This helps alert them that something needs to be done. I've been working with them, and I heard you say earlier that after the horrific school shooting that we saw in the news this morning, you know that we work with the Brevard Sheriff's Department, that I'm very grateful for. But every time something like that happens, we reevaluate and we see how we can better the policy or change things to keep our students safe. But I think that we forget about these kinds of policies. The stuff that's in here is outdated. It needs to be rewritten, and we need better education provided to the nurses that are in the schools that are supposed to take care of our children. When I tried to work with them and provide education to them, I kept hearing a lot about liability and responsibility for the children, but when they're at school, you guys are liable and responsible to keep them safe. So I don't want to have to pull my child out of school because of her diabetes that she has no control over, because we can't come to a resolution to keep her safe within the school. I'm not sure who I need to work with or who else I can talk to. I've reached out to Mr. Susan and his assistant and the director of nursing at the Brevard Public Health Department. I provided resources today at the school from the device companies that my daughter wears on her body, and I'm willing to educate myself, you know, and show up anywhere I need to be, but I would like this policy looked at and to be updated.
Thank you. Ms. Dampierre, you're in the back. Are you able to speak with Ashley in regards to this policy? I think this goes in conjunction with a lot of the information that you provided to the board on the updates that were happening. Is that okay? Okay, so she's in the very back. So if you don't mind, Ashley, if you can go back there, she's going to talk to you about some of the updates that are currently going on right now, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bernard Bryan, Gregory Ross, Paul Raub.
I apologize for double dipping. So,
That's okay.
first, I would like to thank Dr. Rendell and this board for allowing me to speak again. And I just want to I'd like to give a shout out to Dr. Rendell, Dr. Dampierre, and Dr. Tara Harris. We had a wonderful meeting down in South Melbourne, and Dr. Rendell put this team together to talk about chronic absenteeism. And Dr. Rendell, the community is so thankful to you for taking the time to listen to a big concern, we think. We've been looking at, you know, what's causing the educational gap, why is children not performing well, and we discovered that chronic absenteeism is a problem. And what Dr. Rendell and his staff did, as well as his team, give us some tremendous information that we can share with the parents as well as leaders in the South Brevard area. You know, one of the things we did, we met with pastors in the South Melbourne side to really share with them that absenteeism is a problem. I don't know if you're growing up, but when I grew up, I couldn't afford to miss one day. If I missed one day, I would get far behind. But we got students that are missing 18 days a year, and 30% of the population is really missing that amount of time. So it really makes sense to me a little bit. What can we do in the community to help close the gap? One thing we could do is to make sure that the child goes to school. So I hope that the board will partner with us and help push this issue. If a child is not at school, obviously he can't learn. So that is one concern that we have. And again, thank you, Dr. Rendell. I've gotten so many phone calls from those leaders that were there, that you took the time to meet with those leaders down in the South Melbourne area. Obviously, my big concern going forward, one of the things that we have on our radar is to improve VPK participation. And I'm hoping that this continue to be a goal of ours as well as a goal for this team, because we understand how important early learning is. If a child starts late, you're going to spend so much money trying to mitigate that child learning problem. So please do everything you can to make sure that VPKs are in those marginalized community. And lastly, you heard my speech about capital expenditures, improving the schools. That is on our radar as well. So thank you, Dr. Rendell. Thank you, Dr. Dampier and Ms. Harris, for your support.
Thank you.
Gregory Ross, Paul Raub, Amy Raub.
Thank you, Board, for this opportunity to do public comment. I want to start with, I'm going to echo Mr. Brian here, Dr. Rendell. I think that's a great thing that you're working on absenteeism. That's leadership. I appreciate that. Not focused on culture wars, but focused on actual education issues. Matt, I wanted to address you, of course. It was enlightening to see tonight that the director of CTE was awarded the best in the state. I truly believe we have one of the best CTE programs in the state, if not the country. Lots of people are responsible for that. I think my concern is that your election signs say #1 trade programs in Florida, right? Like you're responsible for it, right? Rather unethical if you ask me, but it's right there. You can see it online. That's the kind of things that bother me, right? A lot of people do the work and you want to take the political credit for it. Mr. Trent, I want to address something you said a few school board meetings ago. You claimed that we, the people who show up here every week, hate the board more than we love the students. That couldn't be further from the truth. We love the students and the community so much that we show up here at every board meeting and workshop to hold you accountable. We hold you accountable for your extremism, your lack of qualifications, and mostly for your lack of governance. That's what this board suffers from. It suffers from a lack of governance. You're too busy fighting culture wars instead of working on education problems. I also saw the banning of the manga book last school board. I wasn't here, I saw it online. And Ms. Campbell, I just want to point out to you, this is why we fight against book banning, because this is what happens. You open the door and all of a sudden it's not an objective standard. The state took away the objective standard of the Miller test, right? That never would have happened last week if the Miller test was still there, right? Because you couldn't come to that conclusion that these three members came to get rid of that book. So understand why we're fighting this, because we predicted this. We predicted this when Mr. Trent and Ms. Wright were elected almost 2 years ago. And how do we know? We knew because we saw who we listened to what they said as candidates. We saw who they embraced in their campaigns. We predicted this. We are one. We are strong, and we are not going away. Thank you.
Paul Raub, Amy Raub, Aiden McFadden.
So I've been putting together a timeline of the sort of history, inglorious though it may be, of book banning in this school district. I don't know, link in bio or something probably eventually. And it was just interesting because, you know, in a couple years, forgetting how much things have changed, this sort of slide into essentially a wood chipper for books and the series of unforced errors. You know, May 2022, I'd never been to a school board meeting, could not believe, wait, people in this century are banning books? You're kidding me? Turns out, yeah. Primarily, you know, we had 30 plus books challenged by one person, most of which ended up on the review committee's list. The review committee was convened October, November 22. We had a couple of meetings with all sorts of experts on the committee who were fantastic. They actually knew how things worked, knew what could be done. And perhaps as a result of that, those books stayed around. Late November, get a couple new board members, a new chair, and we can't have those books sticking around anymore. So step one, committee gets suspended while we go looking for new members. For some reason, that takes 6 months. During those 6 months, we changed the rules. Let's remove the experts from the committee. Let's, per Mr. Trent, conflict of interest. Let's also change the rules so that the minute a challenge is issued by whomever, somebody flies in from Alaska, fills out a challenge form, that book's gone from our kids' schools until such time as it's reviewed. Ahead of the state on that one, by the way. You beat DeSantis in a fascist thing, so good job. June 22, we come back. We have some new members. Mr. Trent apparently panicked, needed somebody, saw that one name was all over the challenge forms. That seems like a good person to go review her own challenges because conflict of interest is a fluid concept. And now books start falling like dominoes. You know, that wasn't easy enough for some folks. I think it was November 23 that Mr. Trent brought the list of every book that had ever been banned or removed, or as we know, some of those terms can be tricky, in the state. Let's get rid of all those. Luckily, that didn't go on. Soon after that, we became strictly advisory. So now the board can remove a book for whatever reason. Thoughtful discussion and debate, well, that's nice, but you know, a book has gay stuff, so we're just going to remove it anyway. Or, oh no, it's read from back to front. What will our middle school children do? Shockingly, this has led to, you know, quite an uptick in absenteeism in these meetings because, you know, I assume I wasn't able to ask the people why they're not showing up because they weren't there. You know, if your vote doesn't matter, why cast it? It doesn't have to be this way. You can still undo these rules. You can make sensible ones that are in some way for the benefit of students. You can do it. It's allowed.
Amy Raub, Aiden McFadden, Rebecca McAllenan.
Mr. Gibbs, who's the next speaker?
Amy Raub's next, and then Aiden McFadden.
Okay.
She said she's skipping.
Okay. All right. You're good.
Hello board, I'm Aiden McFadden. You know me. I just wanted to remind you that we don't read from bottom to top. Thank you.
All right. Who's the next speaker?
Rebecca McAllenan, Kelly Curbin.
Good evening. I had some comments that I was going to make this evening, but I was asked by a BPS parent and teacher who is unable to attend tonight to read her comments. Hey board, these are her words. Hey board, Dr. Rendell. I'm a BPS teacher of many years, as well as the mother of a middle schooler who has attended BPS school since kindergarten. Our media specialists here in BPS devote their entire careers to encouraging our children to read. They work without ceasing to provide an amazing array of books in our libraries that pull in reluctant readers. Not books they might choose to read, but the types of books that help our children grow or laugh or learn. And you sit up there and take a book with a theme of kindness and standing up to bullies, a book with puppy love and nothing more graphic than that. Yes, I'm talking about the Japanese graphic manga novel that you banned all of our students from checking out of libraries this week. And Katie, you called that graphic novel that my own child might love to read kind of stupid. As if tearing down a child's independent reading choice is a way to build them up. And Megan, you called the book, the relationship in the book, inappropriate. Meaning what? Exactly. That the boys are gay? Do you mean gay like many students in our schools? Like the parents of many of our students? We'd all really love some clarification on the inappropriate relationship in that book. Since you have all begun to respond to public comments at the end of each meeting, I really would appreciate clarifying your stance on the inappropriate relationship at the end of tonight's meeting. Right now, I have to keep up with school board meetings just to ensure my child's civil rights and access to a free and appropriate education are not being violated. It's incredibly helpful when you hold these meetings during the school day when no teachers or school employees can attend. Yes, please keep that up. Speaking of bad decisions, Mr. Susan, what spirit compelled you to hold a press conference about student discipline in front of a jail? As a teacher in one of our highest poverty schools, I can state without a doubt that your press conference and showboating changed nothing. You know what does improve behavior in our schools? Building relationships with students. Our admin working hard to fill social workers and behavior support positions at our schools, letting our kids know we believe in them, making sure they're fed, buying them shoes that fit, and holding them to high expectations. But back to the books. When the lawsuit pops up regarding the banning of this book because it was kind of stupid and inappropriate, my family will be happy to jump on board. You may have narrow-minded views in your own head, but you do well to keep them there and out of my child's mind and out of his library and out of our public schools. Thank you.
Kelly Kerben.
At the last meeting, I implored this board and our superintendent to think before they spoke. I urged Matt Susan, Jean Trent, and Megan Wright to stop embarrassing us in this room, in Brevard County, in Florida, and abroad. Instead, my reasonable ask was taken as a challenge by Megan Wright, who in cooperation with Matt Susan and Jean Trent has embarrassed us again by banning a manga that doesn't violate state law. Last summer, Jean Trent told all of us that they weren't just banning books that broke the law. In fact, they would ban books if they didn't like the cover. I am a firm believer that we should believe who people are when they show us who they are. Megan Wright is unprofessional. She is chaotic, she is self-serving, and a liar. I said all of this 2 weeks ago, but now I have more words to add to this list. Bigot, xenophobic, and anti-Semitic. You tried to hide why you were banning the manga by saying it featured an inappropriate relationships. Perhaps you expected the community to just take your word for it, but they didn't. Ms. Campbell, thank you for highlighting that the manga didn't violate state statute. Being gay isn't illegal, although in Megan Wright's narrow and uncultured view of the world, it seems to be. Having gay characters in a book isn't illegal either, Megan, but neither you or your book review committee members seem to comprehend this. Her entire argument against the book was that it featured a gay couple, and given that she and her family made the news for openly discriminating against a gay couple with their own business, her bias is well established. It should surprise no one that I have zero respect for Megan Wright. I've known about her bigotry and Christian nationalism values from the beginning, but I would have respected honesty. Just admit that you hate gay people and be done with it. But no, instead of being honest about why you were voting to ban a manga that didn't violate the law, you justified it by openly discriminating against Japanese and Jewish people too, when you said the way they read and write is backwards. Both Japanese and Hebrew are written and read from right to left. From novels to manga to religious texts, that is their language, and just because it is different from English doesn't make it backwards or a reason to ban a book. The Old Testament and the Bible, which you pervert to justify your hate and bigotry, was originally written in Hebrew. Would you also ban that because it's backwards? Do you realize you're a talking point in Japan? They too are condemning your hateful bigotry and xenophobic rhetoric. Do you comprehend that organizations across this country have been waiting to make an example out of Brevard, and you quite literally handed them a crystal clear case of discrimination? Actions have consequences, Megan, and sadly our students, teachers, and staff also share the burden of those consequences. Megan said the manga wasn't the best and brightest to offer our students, when really it's Megan Wright, Matt Susan, and Jean Trent who aren't the best or brightest for our students.
All right.
Yay.
All right, that concludes public comment. Board, you guys good to keep going forward, or do you need a break for a restroom? You good? All right, so we are now at the consent agenda. Dr. Rendell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are 20 agenda items under this category.
Thank you, Dr. Rendell. Does any board member wish to pull any of the items for discussion? None? All right, I'll entertain a motion. Any discussion? No? All right, Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, Dr. Rendell, will you please let us know about the action portion of the agenda this evening?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first action item is G40. It's the Consortium of State School Boards Association Federal Advocacy Conference. Motions to approve the travel for Ms. Campbell.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Both of you approved. Who's?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? None. All right, Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins? Aye. Ms. Campbell? Aye. Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
Next action item is G41, procurement solicitations.
Do I hear a motion?
To approve.
Second.
Any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
Dr. Rendell.
The last action item is G42, department and school initiated agreements.
Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? No. Paul, roll call, please.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Ms. Campbell?
Aye.
Ms. Wright?
Aye.
Mr. Trent? Aye. Mr. Susan?
Aye.
All right, we will now move on to the information agenda, which includes one item for the board to review, and it may be brought back for action at a subsequent meeting. No action will be taken on this item today. Does any board member wish to discuss this item? Seeing none, all right, we are now at the board member reports. Does any more board member have any information to report or discuss?
Nope.
No? Hearing none. Dr. Rendell, do you have anything more to add?
No, Madam Chair, I do not.
All right, being that there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned.